That sounds totally absurd to a lot of people. I know that because it was absurd to me that I could create this world that I show up just being me. I didn't have to try. I didn't have to be burnt out. I didn't have to expend a lot of energy. I didn't have to work at it because this is just who I am. This is how I operate. This
Thanks for choosing the Finally Be podcast, your reminder to give yourself permission to embrace the divine disruptions. Open up your intuitive knowing and choose the life you really want. I'm Marcy Grayson, and I'll be on this journey with you, sharing ways to elevate your awareness by living from your wholeness. This is your moment to choose your true you and finally be.
Hi, I'm Marcy. I'm so glad and appreciative that you joined me today. I'm so glad that we're going to talk a little bit about just us as a whole being who we know we are. Today, I'm just wanting to give you a few points on this. The first point is hey, from day one, we are told to change this, fix that, quiet down, don't do this, become this or that. I was just talking to my 3 year old the other day, and she has such an imagination. She wants to be everything at any time. And here I go telling her, you know what? Not right now. Keep it quiet. Don't do that. And I'm working on that as a mom, but we are told and trained to feel like we are lacking something and needing to change something to be a better version of who we know we are already. We have all of this imagination, we have these ideas, we have these urges and these longings to create a life that we totally love and know that is fully us. And then we get this contradiction of how we operate in this world to say that that's not how you do it. You need to sit down. You need to think this way and not that way. And we're always feeling like we need to work on something or change something to become something. And I'm feeling that it's so many people that have these burning longings, knowing that that's not true for them. What's true for them is that there has to be something that's already inside of them, or they wouldn't always have these feelings and these thoughts and this understanding of life that's trying to move them towards something that makes them feel more themselves. So, I'm like totally dedicated to this idea that my second point is that you are everything that you are supposed to be, that you need to be the creative energy that this life deserves to see and other people experience. Um, People always want you to show up and play out full. Well, how can you do that if you're so worried about the things that you feel that needs to be changed before you can do that? I believe the first thing that we do in life is learn not to have this idea and this understanding of abundance. We have this limitation. We have this ideal in our head that there is some kind of lack in us, some kind of not enoughness that we have to struggle through in order to get to that fullness of who we know we are. And I believe that when we are yet still young, before we even are really processing how we operate in this world, we're operating as ourselves already. And then we have to be taught not to be ourselves. So, what I want to really emphasize today is that we're like a seed. This seed has everything, all the information, everything that is needed to be fully what that seed is supposed to be. If it's a tree, it knows how deep it's supposed to go into the ground, how to, in order to get the nourishment and the water that is longing for, that is needing, because it just does it, and then as it grows, it knows how wide it needs to be for the environment that is in. It knows where, how far out to stretch out into the sun in order to get the nourishment from the sun. It knows where the seeds on the leaves need to go in order to flourish. It knows if it needs to lean to the left or lean to the right. Those trees that be leaning over, to reach for something, or to move away from a danger or a toxicity. All these things, a seed already has all that information without having to feel like it needs to change. All it does is live within that moment and in that time. So there's so many indicators in life that show us that we already have everything inside of us. Have you ever been around a person that just picks up on things just so easily? They don't even know why or how or what it is that's inside of them, but they just pick up on something. And then they might pick up on something they just really enjoy, maybe art. It wasn't even introduced to them, but once it was just like, oh my goodness, this is just so easy for them. And because it's just pouring out of them, you know what I'm saying? Have you ever been introduced to a person, even within yourself, where you just all of a sudden just had an understanding of information that you've never even encountered before, or had a dream about something, and then that dream manifested because you knew that that is the direction you were supposed to go in and the decisions you were supposed to make? From day one, we are born with that innate information to be who we're supposed to be and live and create the energy in this life to be fully who we need to be in every moment in our lives. From self healing to doing things that are unimaginable, that's already in us. That's already there. We're fully that every day. When we create this idea of a perspective versus perception that limits us, we end up thinking there's something that needs to change, when really it's something that needs to be revealed to us within ourselves. So, what is perception? What is perception? That's one of these points I want to emphasize today. Perception is the meaning you put to something, what you think about something, and it can be changed based on facts like your experiences or your feelings or the way that you're thinking about it, or maybe even an event. So let's say you are in a grocery store and somebody comes in and they hit you with the basket and you're like, what's going on? Why are you hitting me with this basket? And you're getting upset about it and you're mad, and this event just taking place, and you're just feeling all this frustration towards this person. Well, then that's your perception of the situation. You put meaning to it by the demonstration of your feelings and the things that's coming out of you at that time. So your perception is this person that hit you on the leg and they just ruined your day. You're upset and your whole day is just messed up because this is happening, right? Well, if you had a different perspective, if you saw all the angles of that situation, you may not have responded that way. So your perception can change your perception, your perspective can change your perception. So what does that look like? Well, your perspective is how you see, how you operate. Your view can and it's your view of how life is your view of yourself, and it can be changed based on awareness. So, if you were aware of all the angles, let's say you knew that person, right? And you were aware that that person had a really difficult day and they weren't paying attention, and your understanding of that perception um, allows you to respond differently, right? Because your perception also creates your belief, but your perspective can change the way you move through life. So if your perspective is, okay, this person is someone, if you see this person in this angle of this person is someone who's having a difficult time, and I'm a person who have empathy for that. I empathize for people who have difficult times, then your perception can change by saying, okay, I'm going to not have this reaction because my your train of thoughts are different now. This person wasn't trying to hurt me. I'm not going to get frustrated about this, all those. So that line, that perception, that that line of progression changes that behavior or reaction. So when we are thinking about the way that we operate in life, in regards to how we see who as how we see as who we are, we can change everything. We can change our energy. We can change the reason why we want something. But when we come from a place of perspective, our whole life can be illuminated in this way where our awareness expands to be able to create infinite possibilities instead of just managing life. It changes the way that we allow ourselves to understand something too. We have greater and deeper understanding of not just ourselves, but the world around us. We also, if we have a perspective that is different from lack or feeling like there's something that needs to be different, we start to come from we start to be able to see angles that we've never seen before. We're It allows us to dream bigger, think bigger, feel bigger, connect more, because now we're not limited to a perception of our own understanding. Now our point of view has been expanded and enlarged because now we're aware of more aspects of the things of our life and of ourselves. I've always said that you are the captain of your own ship. This is the way that I always started my sessions when I've done therapy. It's you are the captain. You move this ship. You give us the direction. You help us to see where we're going. You guide us. And I'm just a resource. I'm just helping you see what you believe your meaning is. And when we come from a perspective of abundance, when we come from a perspective of expanded awareness, we come from a perspective of being conscious of others and conscious of this world around us and conscious of ourselves and allowing ourselves and giving ourselves permission to fully be who we are and not silence ourselves, we come from a perspective of infinite possibilities. We become the best version of ourselves in the very moment of now instead of thinking it has to be later. So that sounds totally absurd to a lot of people. I know that because it was absurd to me that I could create this world that I show up just being me. I didn't have to try. I didn't have to be burnt out. I didn't have to expend a lot of energy. I didn't have to work at it because this is just who I am. This is how I operate. This is my view of the world and within myself. And when I operate out of that thinking, that mindset, my behaviors automatically change. I don't have to force myself to be something when I'm already this. And the more I'm more aware of who I am, the better my life gets. And that is something that we have to think about more. We have to become aware of. And how you do that, I'm going to tell you in the next video.
Hey, if you're ready to deep dive into getting to those deep meditative states and how to use energy in your daily life, hit me up and I can get you some information about the next class on Reiki Energy Therapist Certifications 1 and 2 and the Meditation Facilitator Certificate that is available. It's a 3-day experience. It's beautiful. It's fun. If you want more information, just get at me. And remember to choose your true you. Start living from your wholeness because you're the key to the life you really want. This is the Finally Be podcast.